Where is Serdar abi? Serdar abi gave us the great news in the morning, saying that the barriers are low before creating an impact. That was not the case 20 years ago. And having bold dreams in those years was difficult. And we know that there is this individual who resigned from their company and took action to make dreams, Mr. Sinan Yaman, the founder of YGA. That little step taken 20 years ago by Sinan abi is respected and turned into strategic partnerships including MIT, Harvard and other universities, and 500 actually 1,000 students, and prestigious awards recognized by many companies. At a television program, Sinan abi was asked about how he created that success story in 20 years time. He said, we are a 20-year-old young NGO, but our roots date back to 700 years ago. Sinan abi called me a while ago as we were preparing for this event. He asked, wouldn't it be great to share the actually composition of Yunus, a composition for Yunus Emre? And I said, that would be great, but we have just 2 weeks. I couldn't believe that we were able to do that. We would be able to do that, but that piece came into being. Now let's listen to this composition prepared for the commemoration of Yunus Emre in his 700th year. Now, we're going to listen to the story of this composition as well as YGA. The founder of Sinan Yaman is kindly invited to the floor. We haven't seen any glitch as Erhan played it so far. Well, normally I do it interactively, but I think because we have a closer circle, we will make it more interactively. You can just raise your hand as we can hear all of you. Is there anyone who knows this gentleman in this hall? Anyone? Is there anyone who knows this gentleman? Well, after Chalar's introduction, maybe he's going to get the Nobel Prize as per my second announcement. I don't know whether he will win the Nobel Prize. He's a scientist. He's called Casbet. Please start the timer. It says 20:00. Do not warn me about the time. Just play the counter. The reason why I wanted to introduce Gaspet to you is that he has a very impressive saying. The root cause of the environmental problems in the world, I thought he says, lies in the collapse of the ecosystem and climatic conditions. He says it's ignorance and selfishness. And it becomes all the more striking for me. As scientists, we don't know how to resolve these two problems. I would like to express my gratitude to Ayşe Önder for composing the piece we listened to. As an admirer of Yunus, I wanted to get a unique piece. You know, it is very difficult as artists. Önder supported him, Yiğit supported her, Önder vocal, also in the vocal, supported her, although she had twin babies. Thank you very much. I will ask you to look at the relationship between the verses in the song and Mr. Gaspet. There are 10 billion neurons in the brain, and the valuable thing here is that we can establish such a connection. And we know that we have the most creative person here. By the way, you might say I was dancing. I missed that verse. Let me repeat it. I elevate the falling water. I turn it to rising water. A lesson I learn, helping the others in need. Hazan, can you establish the connection between these verses and what Gaspet said? A very assertive one, right? Your interpreters cannot hear due to the lack of microphone. So, Yunus Emre says, I have a concern, I have a trouble. And when you look at its relationship with Gaspet, he says, we cannot find a way to resolve it. The problem of ignorance and selfishness. Ayşe made a great introduction. I don't know whether you've been able to listen to her well. She said, yes, the youth presents a huge opportunity, a huge advantage. But this is a water. This water can flow in vain, but also create meaningful projects, creating many firsts for humanity. We should not waste this water, she said. How can we ensure that this water is not wasted for the benefits of visually challenged? If I'm not right, please correct me. Volkan is he's the co-founder of Volkan, and Kürşat studied in one of these 15 schools for the visually challenged. Since 2017, YGA volunteers, the people you see here, came together with the visually challenged individuals and had a 2-hour session. And it wasn't limited with that. I think Mr. Erhan said that I see it as a leadership school, as a great ecosystem for entrepreneurship. I think no leadership school in the world can consist of visually challenged who comprise 10% of the staff. We select people like Kürşat who have a small ego but a huge heart. When you go to a camp, for example, to America Leadership Camp for 2 weeks with a visually challenged individual, when you see how Kürşat tries to find his back, when you see that Kürşat loves watching movies but cannot watch them, when you see that Kürşat hits the sign as he walks in New York, you feel that concern of Kürşat in your heart. The brightest students in Turkey do not do a project for the visually challenged, but do a project with the visually challenged individuals, working together with Kürşat. Science is a right for everyone, we say. And you create science sets so that education can be available to them. And you try to take those scientific sets to different children in Anatolia. So you take this water and elevate it. And this is not some wasted water. Here you're using the technology leverage, Serdar's definition, great definition, and turn it into something meaningful. Gasped was also inspired by this verse of Yunus. Selfishness and neglect. When we look at the resumes of many young individuals, you see that we look at their future rather than past. These are the friends with dreams. And the first thing we do is that we freeze their dreams and we teach them how to be a dream partner. We make them, for example, a partner with Hassan's dream. And that wasn't easy for our dream partners at the beginning as well. They said, Sinan, we have dreams for humanity. You have bright students, so let's help them implement them. I told them, well, we want the young individuals to have their dreams rather than implementing your dreams. They should dream, they should create that project so that they can move from selfishness to selflessness. So you definitely need dream partners to make a dream come true. But before making that dream come true with your dream partners, you need to be able to become a dream partner. These two things are invaluable on the journey from selfishness to selflessness. And in YGA, these are the two critical things, as Gaspet referred to negligence and selfishness. We have all traveling to 50 countries, scientific sets, taken to different parts of the world. So if you use this metaphor of elevating the water that flows down and turning it into something advantageous, I think we are living in a period where we cannot foresee tomorrow. And in periods where you have such blurry waters, Melike Aydın has this apt metaphor. Who was the chair of YGA in the 5th year? Anchor is important. Where you place that anchor is important. And they actually placed this anchor in 3 spots. When Shule met with YGA, as she's one of the oldest dream partners, she said this real world project is a great one, or twin scientific sets will really help those individuals, those disadvantaged children, access science. And that's where she placed the anchor. These are very valuable projects, okay? And then, over time, Murat and Gökhan uh, actually combined with each other. Murat says Gökhan is a person with a huge heart, with small ego, with so much actually benefits. He impresses me. I saw that Asude, Ömer, Cihan, all others had those anchors in time. As people started to see and say, these young individuals shaped my dream. And that anchor went a little deeper. When you place that anchor in the project, that becomes all the more important. They say, don't lean on a wall, it gets demolished. Don't lean on a tree, as it may just get broken. If you do place those anchors and see its story, it turns into something else, right? Gamze said, let's create Big Chef in Anatolia Hisar, but then you decided to change it again, right? Kaptan says whether we should take Sinan on board or not, the team changes. So when you anchor something to a project, actually, when you anchor it to a team, it sort of can pivot. Over time, that's why we should place this anchor to people rather than projects. But then I came to realize that that is not the best decision either. As humans have this margin for error. Don't I make mistakes? Yes, I do too. 5 years ago, Asude was the leader in the summit. She brought Ömer and Yaman and brought them to me. If she had placed that anchor to me as the founder of YGA, Sinan abi has this dream and the barriers were higher back then. He showed the courage, and if she had placed that anchor in me, she wouldn't have been able to give such feedback to me. Where did she place that anchor? Actually, in the YGA office, the wall says, I didn't come for you, I came to help hearts. I came to help others. Asta came and said, you had a dream with a YGA partner yesterday. We believe what you're saying is right, but you couldn't win the heart of a person. We saw this fight of me and you. We saw that you could not internalize the adage there. They said, we quarantine you for 40 days. That's what they said.
Think of it as such, a founding executive board president, and we were going with YGA. And when I saw him, I was like, oh, because I've known him since the age of 13, and I can't even think of the fact that he's 26 months. You will get me. Someone who joined YGA at the age of 13. Now, that person telling the founding president that, well, we're going to be putting you into quarantine for 40 days. You know, that hurts me. Fazıl Bey, in a minute, perhaps we'll talk about that John, you know, that soul. Myself was hurt, but perhaps this is not what I should have used. But today I'm very happy, and I was angry back then, and I perhaps need to simply say that the fact that Asude and Deniz were very much anchored with that anchor, it really gave me hope. This is the prescription of an eternity, being there for the eternity, not the structure of the arch or the anchor, but this is the common value of YGA. So that's why on the television program, yes, I was trying to tell Fatih Altaylı, and he was with that, how do you get such a word, so on and so forth. Yes, it's a young NGO of 21 years, but it has very sound roots dating back to 7 centuries ago. I could say that Agahabi, that they are writing down very fancy words, but internalization of those verses by Yunus Emre, with self-confidence, they come up to me, and the anchor is simply both is put forward dating back to Yunus Emre. Do you think YGA is going to be established and organized in the upcoming centuries as well? Well, I think it's a big yes, because the anchor is drawn to Yunus Emre, and when we have that spirit, that YGA spirit who have internalized these words, I believe that in the upcoming years and decades, we will be having great events YGA. This is what I would like to share with you, a quotation from Aziz Sancar. The fact that every problem happened in my slot and nothing left to the dream partners. Can I just take it back? Because you can't obviously hear it. Shall I try it? Okay, so I will be rewinding it. I will put it on again. You look great over here. Okay.
Memlekete, insanlığa önemli katkılar yapmak için
In order to make a
Robert
contribution to the
College'den mezun
humanity,
olmaya
to the
gerek yok.
country, you don't necessarily
Savur'dan,
have to be an alumni of Robert
Sürgüc'ten,
College. From Savur, Sürgücü,
Türkiye'nin herhangi bir
from any university of
üniversitesinden,
Turkey or
lisesinden
high
mezun
school,
olup hem memlekete hem
you could
insanlığa
make
önemli katkılar
significant
yapabilirsiniz.
contributions to your
Bizim çocuklara
homeland, to
güven
the
vermemiz
country,
lazım.
to the
Yani bu
humanity.
çok önemli.
We need to give trust to these children. This is very key. Mehmet Evyap was probably going to say that you made him say that, right? Because I'm obsessed with Robert College alumni. No, of course, he said it himself. He underlines one thing very important. We need to give trust to these kids. And this is one of the most touching lines about leadership. A good leader makes other people trust them. Me, Sinan Yaman, as a co-founder of YGA, I have to make all of our dream partners believe me. Then I'm a good leader. But beyond that, a good leader makes people believe themselves. So believing themselves, this is where I have been contemplating quite a lot. Well, because there are people who are believing themselves so much but gives me no trust whatsoever. So this comes down to the positioning of the anchor. If you simply throw your anchor to Yunus Emre and like-minded personalities, then those people give me trust. Well, humans err, and they could make errors if I work with those people, just like Sinan Yaman. But because the anchors are onto the values, then they would take whatever science or whatever outcome has been produced there and would correct it and work on it. That's why the quotation of Aziz Abi is very important. You don't necessarily have to be a Robert College alumni. And we have many, more than thousands of young people from all parts of Anatolia. For them, I would like to reiterate one thing. In 2021, students are fellows who are watching us from different parts of Anatolia and Anatolian schools. In 2021, in an upcoming decade, you might be one of the leaders of the 8th period of YGA. Why do I say that? The person you see here, yes, I'm the founder of YGA. Gökhan and Enis took the flame from me, and they made great progress. Salih likewise followed them, and then also Devre Sağlık and Melike put it on to the international level. Now Fulden leading the 6th period. She is a graduate of an Anatolian university, not from, it is indeed the Anadolu University, indeed the name of her university is Anadolu. So how come she's now leading the 6th term of YGA? Well, if you could just ask yourself, can I take this responsibility? So, as you could see, well, she is trying to coexist, co-create, to serve humanity with her double wings, and for 10 years, every quarter, for that, so there is something on the photograph. We also checked whether Funda could fly with the other double-winged. We did a climate analysis. We asked our fellow team members, can she take right decisions in a liberated environment? And whenever there was a shortcoming, we told her, we gave her that feedback, and she developed herself. Fulden küçük, she has small ego, but she has a huge heart. And her together grade mark or score is so great that this is why she is leading this term. So this is why, you don't have to necessarily be an alumni of Robert College or any other fancy or international school. So this is indeed the very tangible example of that principle that we execute at YGA. Fundan is not trying to save the day. There are fires, very intense fires, and we talk about science. There is a disaster, earthquake, flooding. We talk about science, but to see the future, to save the future and to see the future, we need to create and design and develop preventive measures, and mobility, and overall mobility of science and technology is what we need. Gaspet talked about the wicked problems, and this could be an established solution for those problems. Melike, I'm checking the time. My time is up. Can I give it a try? If we have time, if you have 1 minute, now that we have these great dream partners, Ayşe Önen's this great song, can we sing it together as an aficionado of Yunus Emre? I know my time is up, but if it's okay for you, let's try to sing it together, shall we? Who is going to? Well, can I start it? Okay, you start it. Okay. Okay. They're going to press it. You're going to see the lyrics. So these are the lyrics. Where the vocal is singing the first part and the second part. Let's sing it together. This is going to be on video, and that would be shared with you in remembrance of 700th anniversary of YGA and Yunus Emre. Bravo to you! Bravo to you! Well, happy who could put their anchor or could understand, internalize and live Yunus Emre and Yunus Emre aficionados like me.